I don't. The Democratic Party or the Democratic representatives just were full of contempt for Attorney General Barr. I mean, anything that he said, they angrily as if it were a lie. You've been in Washington D.C. a long, long time. I've never seen our leaders act this way. What is going on there?
Well, I think one of two things. Either they're sorry now they invited him, because I think they look bad as a result of it, and he looked reasonable, and or secondly, they brought him in to have clips of them that they can show in the next election. Boy, I really stood up to this tyrant Barr. I don't know which it is, but either way, they look bad, or they use it for their own political purposes.
Yeah, from my perspective, it looked horrible. I don't know why they think that would look. I suppose there's a group of people like the demonstrators in Portland who think that stuff is pretty cool, but I have no idea. Senator Chuck Grassley is with us. We do need, of course, here in Iowa, we're an older population. I'm an older person, for that matter. And we're concerned about health care prices. Is there anything being done with health care price transparency or anything like that?
Last Friday, the president put out some executive orders that he can only do if he's got discretion within the law. And in these areas, I think he has discretion that would bring about reduction of drug prices, mostly by loosening up importation of drugs coming into the country so that our own companies don't have a monopoly on it. The second thing is I've introduced a bill with Braun of Indiana that would have guaranteed price transparency. In other words, you'd be able to get off of your internet what hospitals or doctors charge for this or that in the delivery of health care. And then there's my bill that is quite frankly stuck, even though it got out of committee 19-9, and it was a bipartisan bill. And now I've had Schumer tell Wyden, my Democrat counterpart on the committee, that he should not cooperate with me because they think they have a chance of winning the presidency and getting control of the Senate, and they think they can get a bigger bill. Now, if that turns out, then they played their hand right. But I'm thinking the president's going to be reelected. Next year, I won't be chairman of the committee. The new chairman of the committee, a Republican, is against my bill, and the Democrats won't get anything then. So that's why I'm disappointed. But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue to try to get transparency and get drug prices down, save $95 billion to the federal treasury, put an out-of-pocket cap on what can be one individual pay for drugs, and lastly, it would make sure that drug prices year over year didn't increase more than 2%.
Senator Chuck Grassley is our guest. We'll be glad to see that or hear about progress in that regard. I hear a lot, not surprisingly, you know where Fort Dodge is. You've been here many, many times, and you're kind of from the area up there in New Hampton. But our farmers are concerned about where ethanol is going. They're concerned about the RIN numbers, the renewable fuels blending process. Are we going to get better support in Washington, D.C.? I'm a lot of farmers, and myself included, are a little bit disappointed in the Trump administration for granting so many waivers. Is there anything else that we can do? Can we call or write?
Yeah. Well, Senator Ernst and I have put in a bill on this, and we are working hard for the ethanol industry in Iowa. But don't forget, you got 130, 140 plants closed down around the country. It's because the economy shut down because of the pandemic. Now, to compensate for that, we're trying to get, they lost a little over $3 billion is what I read in the paper. We're trying to get roughly $3 billion to the ethanol industry through appropriations here in the Congress of the United States. And then also, she and I I think it was 2 weeks ago today, we had conversation with Wheeler on this very subject of why